our modern society, our modern economy has a single point of failure. And that single point of failure is electricity. Without electricity, our world would come to halt. Let me explain how. We can live without anything except food. Our food supply chain, at least in the developed countries, relies entirely on computers. If there is no electricity, we can't switch on those computers. If we can't switch on those computers, that means retailers, supermarkets are not going to know what food to deliver where and who's delivering it, as in what lorries are delivering what food where. So if food supply chain comes to a halt, that means food's not being supplied. So that's where you have social issues, social unrest. People would be out on the streets. Now you could be out on the streets, but if there is no food left in the supermarkets, what do you then do? So the people who would suffer the most are the people living in cities, in large cities. Why? Because over the years we have moved away from our ecosystem. Farms, livestock, we've just moved it further and further out into the countrysides. So there would be no food left in cities, but hey, people in the countryside would be okay because firstly, the food is grown there. Secondly, they know how to grow their food. And thirdly, they'll have ample supply since they can't get into city centers. So people would start rushing in cities. Great, you can rush, why not? But what good is that rush? Because your electric cars aren't going to be working. In fact, you're not even going to be able to wash your hands because most of the taps are sensors. But yeah, jokes aside, about washing hands, although it'd be hygienic to wash hands considering, corona, pandemics, etc. Let's get back to the point. Even if people had petrol cars, you will not be able to dispense petrol at the fuel stations because there is no electricity. So let's say people still go out, you'd have gridlocks first of all on the roads, and where would they go? So even if they could get to a farm, great, how do they then get back? They run out of fuel. So in those circumstances, having a bicycle would be incredibly useful, but you'd have to cycle a long way to be able to get to food. So the long and short of it is that a single point of failure is electricity, and it could go in many ways. Scientists have been predicting a solar wave from a sun which would knock out satellites and anything that's electronic, all the chips. But it doesn't need to be a solar wave. It could be a natural disaster such as a tsunami, terrorist attack, or just outage. Something could just go wrong and they don't know where it's gone wrong, and it happens on a large, massive scale. Developing countries or poor countries would be okay because they still live on manual systems. But people who would suffer the most are the people in developed countries, and within developed countries, it'd be people within in city centers. And that's all I had to say. Hopefully it'll never happen.